They called it the Rising Crescent, a sprawling glass sandsteel behemoth meant to redefine luxury in the desert. But all I saw was dust and delay. I walked the perimeter in a haze of heat and noise, white hard hat tilted low, clipboard in one hand, bottled water in the other. The site buzzed with activity, welders, drone surveyors, concrete mixers all pushing to meet an impossible deadline. It was a crisis job thrown my way after the previous lead architect got yanked mid-phase. "Adam," they said, "you're the only one who can turn this around." What they meant was, we need someone burned out, too tired to say no. My name is Adam Caraway. I'm 43. Right now, I live in Doha, Qatar. My wife and kids live somewhere else. I didn't ask where exactly. The firm's courier found me near the operations tent just before noon. He was sweating through his button-down, holding a padded envelope with my name scrawled across it. "Design revisions from New York," he said. "Express." I took it and nodded, already knowing it'd be a mix of panic and half-measures. Just another day on this cursed site. But inside the packet, tucked behind the renderings and floor plan updates, was something else, a USB drive in a plain red sleeve. Labeled in neat, familiar handwriting. "Adam, personal. From Isabel." I stared at it longer than I should have. The rational part of me wanted to shove it in my pocket and keep moving. We had a walkthrough scheduled at 2 p.m. and the HVAC systems were still months behind. But another part, the softer one I've spent years burying under schedules and flight itineraries, wondered why she didn't just call. I didn't open the drive right away. 15 years of marriage and a decade in high-pressure design work had taught me how to compartmentalize. Emotion and logic couldn't share space. At least not if you wanted to survive. The day moved like molasses. I signed off on modified supports for the atrium bridge. Argued with procurement about structural glass delays. Corrected a site engineer who thought 3 inches of tolerance wasn't a big deal. All the while, that little red USB burned in my pocket. I didn't open it until midnight. The team had cleared out. I sat in the trailer with a coffee gone cold and my laptop glowing faintly. There were 2 folders. One for the revised renderings. And one labeled simply "From Isabel." I clicked. There was no video. No dramatic voice recording. Just a PDF. Her letter was calm. Too calm. Like she had practiced being detached. She said she was sorry. That she had waited long enough. That 15 years of sleeping beside a ghost was all she could take. The kids, Cole and Lila, were enrolled in private school now. In upstate New York. She'd already signed the lease on a house near the mountains. They loved the space, she said. Lila was joining the equestrian team. She wasn't alone either. Mason was helping. Mason Carson. Her old childhood friend. The one I always hated without really knowing why. She didn't even try to hide it. She wrote it like a news bulletin. "Mason has been wonderful. He's helping the kids adjust." I sat there, staring at the screen, waiting for the panic to hit. It didn't. Instead, my hand moved calmly to the drawer beside me. I pulled out a sketch pad. Not for buildings, this one was different. Thicker paper. Bound leather. A gift from a mentor who told me once, "Design is war. Always have a battle plan." I flipped to the first blank page. And I started drawing. Not lines. Not curves. Not windows or beams. This time I was sketching leverage points. People. Bank accounts. Trusts. They thought I'd unravel. They didn't realize I'd just been given the clearest schematic of my life. And I was going to redesign everything. Starting now. The email went out at 3:17 a.m. Qatar time. Subject line, "Bluebird contingency, activate immediately." Recipient, Doris Gale, ESQ. I had written it in one sitting, without revisions, just bullet points and directives. No greetings, no sign-offs. I knew Doris would understand. We talked about this protocol years ago, half as a joke, half as insurance. In case Isabel ever decided to weaponize my absence. 3 hours later, my phone buzzed with a voice memo from Doris. Her voice, smooth and calm as always, filled the trailer. "It's done. Trusts are frozen. Access revoked. Julian is looped in. Expect updates within 48 hours. Stay silent. Let them move first. Julian Rees. Private Intelligence, ex-FBI Cyber Division." I'd hired him after watching too many partners get blindsided by friendly fire during divorce proceedings. The man was discreet, precise, and terrifyingly efficient. His rate was higher than some architects' annual salaries, but he never missed a detail. By the end of the day, I had my first report. Mason, the man playing stepdad in my absence, had been sloppy. The tuition payments for Cole and Lila's private school had gone through 2 different accounts, Isabel's joint checking and a Shell LLC registered in Delaware. Under Mason's name. Julian included screenshots. A bank statement, tuition forms, even a copy of a digital authorization slip with my forged signature at the bottom. Sloppy work. My digital signature hadn't been active since 2022. They thought they were clever. They weren't. By Wednesday, alerts started pinging. Isabel had attempted to access our children's trust funds. Twice. Once using the old password, once using a recovery token she wasn't authorized to have. Doris had set up a firewall months ago. Any unauthorized activity triggered a legal alert, an auto-freeze, and a silent ping to our side. I forwarded the alert to Doris. She replied instantly. You were right. This wasn't spontaneous. She's been planning this. She also added, I've scheduled a call with the family court liaison in Albany. Quietly. You'll have leverage soon. Meanwhile, Julian had more. He traced a sudden wire transfer from one of Mason's dormant companies to a new account in Isabel's name. Timing? 2 days before she sent the USB. Amount? $90,000. They weren't just moving on. They were building something. Together. And I had just pulled the permit. Mason got his warning later that week. An anonymous call. Not a threat, not a traceable one. Just a voice, distorted and emotionless. We know what you're doing. Stay out of the trusts. Back off. You're not as invisible as you think. Julian's idea. I didn't ask for specifics. But I did enjoy imagining Mason's face when he got the call. Probably alone, sipping something expensive, thinking he was smarter than me. He wasn't. Back in Doha, I kept playing the part. Hard hat, site walkthroughs, late-night calls with engineers. No emotion. No slip-ups. Nobody on my team knew my personal life was in flames. That was the benefit of being a professional compartmentalizer. But every night, after the lights went off and the crews cleared out, I opened that same sketchpad. I updated the plan. Added arrows, connections, notes. Mason and Isabel thought they'd drawn up a new blueprint. But they forgot who the real architect was. And I was just getting started. Family emergency, I told HR. They didn't ask for details. They knew better. I had years of goodwill built up, awards, international projects, saving their golden tower in Doha from becoming a $500 million embarrassment. So they signed off on the leave request within the hour. By sunrise the next day, I was on a flight to New York. No one greeted me at JFK. I didn't tell anyone I was coming. I rented a cabin 2 hours north of the city, tucked away off a gravel road near Tannersville. No neighbors. No distractions. Just me, a laptop, and the thick silence of a place built for solitude. It felt good to disappear. Doris met me there the next afternoon, laptop open before her coat was even off. She got straight to it. Isabel used your digital signature to enroll both kids. That's a felony in New York. I didn't speak. Just nodded once. And Mason, she continued, was listed as the financial guardian on Cole's tuition file. Isabel claimed you'd transition support responsibilities to Mason temporarily. I stared at the fire as it crackled. Any payments go through? Not a cent. We blocked them in time. But the attempt's on record. And if we need to file fraud charges, we have options. I looked down at the table. My hands were still. My voice calm. What about the kids? Doris slid over a folder. Inside were photos, surveillance, courtesy of Julian's team. Cole walking across campus, head down, earbuds in. Lila in uniform, chatting with classmates but never smiling. They're adjusting, Doris said. But the narrative Isabel's feeding them? It's curated. She's painting you as distant. Emotionally unavailable. They think you're off chasing prestige. She's not wrong, I murmured. I did disappear. She's not right either. You sent letters. Gifts. You called. She just filtered everything. I leaned back in my chair. The ceiling fan above creaked quietly, the only sound in the room. Julian's update came via a secure call that evening. Mason's cracking, he said. His liquidity's drying up. He's moved assets into crypto, sold a rental property in Jersey under a proxy's name, and started making calls to a crisis management firm. Someone's feeling pressure. And the kids? I asked. They're not dumb. Lila's been Googling trust law. Cole's ignored 3 of Mason's calls in the past 2 days. Isabel's losing grip. I sat there processing. One move at a time. No emotion. I wasn't ready to confront Isabel. Not yet. But the kids? That time was coming soon. I spent the rest of the week assembling files, transcripts, screenshots, flagged transactions. I printed everything. Labeled it. Bound it neatly. 2 folders, one for Cole. One for Lila. Truth, not anger. I rehearsed the conversation in my head 100 times. Not a confrontation. Not a guilt trip. Just information. Because no matter what Isabel wanted them to believe, they deserved more than curated stories and forced smiles. They deserved a choice. And I was going to give it to them. The school was one of those polished New England academies, old brick, iron gates, manicured lawns. The kind of place where legacy mattered more than truth. I pulled my rental into the visitor's lot just after 3 p.m., the folders on the passenger seat beside me. Cole and Lila didn't know I was coming. Their mother hadn't approved the visit, which was exactly the point. I had no intention of going through her. A dean escorted me to a conference room under the guise of academic outreach. Polite, rehearsed, clueless. He left me with tea and a promise that the kids would arrive soon. 5 minutes later, the door opened. Lila walked in first, school bag slung over one shoulder, her dark hair in a braid. Cole followed, taller than I remembered, hoodie zipped to his chin, eyes guarded. "Dad?" Lila said, confused. "What are you doing here?" I stood. "Just wanted to talk. Nothing formal. I'm not here to cause trouble." Cole didn't sit. He stood near the door like he might walk back out. "Your mom doesn't know I'm here," I said. "She wouldn't have allowed it." Lila sat slowly. Cole stayed standing, arms crossed. I placed the folders on the table. "This isn't about punishment," I said. "It's not about court or loyalty. It's about truth. And I think you both deserve that." Cole narrowed his eyes. "Truth about what?" "Everything," I said. "About the money. The school paperwork. Mason. Your mom's choices." Lila glanced at Cole, unsure. Then opened her folder. Inside, bank statements showing the trust withdrawals. Screenshots of tuition paperwork with my forged signature. Audio transcripts, clipped, time-stamped, of Isabel instructing someone, likely Mason, how to navigate around legal barriers. Lila flipped through slowly, her face paling with every page. Cole finally sat down. "What is this?" he asked, though I could tell he already knew. "Evidence," I said, "of how they tried to erase me." Cole picked up one page, scanned it, then dropped it on the table like it burned. He didn't speak. He just leaned back in the chair, jaw tight. Lila's voice was small. "She said you left. That you didn't want us." I looked at her. "I never stopped wanting you. I just stopped being allowed to reach you." She blinked quickly, pressing her lips together to keep from crying. "I'm not asking you to hate her," I said. "I'm not asking you to pick sides. I'm asking you to look. To read. To know." Cole finally spoke. "Why now?" "Because you're old enough to decide," I said. "And because silence lets people lie with a straight face." He stared at the floor. Then at me. "What do you want from us?" "Nothing," I said. "Except for you to stay neutral for 1 week. No decisions, no accusations. Just sit with this." I handed each of them a slip of paper with a phone number. New number. Direct to me. Not monitored. No one else has it. Lila took it with trembling fingers. Cole didn't reach for his. "You don't have to forgive me," I said. "But you have the right to know the truth." I stood, gave them one last look, not pleading, just present, and left without another word. I didn't expect hugs. Or closure. This wasn't about healing yet. This was about a blueprint of truth. Something solid, something undeniable, something that could hold the weight of every lie they'd been told. The rest would come later. Isabel sat across from her lawyer, arms folded tight, jaw clenched. The office smelled like leather and desperation. She hadn't planned to file so soon, but the situation was unraveling faster than she'd expected. "I want emergency support," she said flatly. "And full custody until this all calms down." Her attorney, a man named Saul something, adjusted his glasses and tapped a pen on a yellow legal pad. "The issue," he said carefully, "is that Adam's legal team has already filed motions to block access to all shared assets. The joint accounts, the property trust." "He can't just do that," Isabel snapped. "He can," Saul replied, and he did. She stood up, pacing the floor, heels clicking. This was supposed to be simple. Clean. "The kids are with me. Mason's been helping. I had everything set." "Not anymore," Saul muttered under his breath. What he didn't say was what she already knew. Adam wasn't acting like a wounded husband. He was moving like a tactician. Quiet, fast, and lethal. As if on cue, her phone buzzed. A text from the school's administrative office. "Your children have requested a formal meeting to discuss a change in their living arrangements. A guardian must be present. Please contact us to confirm." Isabel stared at it for a long time, her thumb hovering over the screen. Her stomach twisted. She didn't text them back. That night, she drove home to the house Mason had helped her lease. The living room was dark, the only light coming from the TV. Mason was on the couch, eyes red, a drink in his hand. He didn't look up when she came in. "Another call from Julian today," he muttered. She stiffened. "Julian who?" The anonymous guy who's been screwing with my life. He paused, then turned slowly to face her. There's a board meeting next week. I'm on the agenda. Meaning I'm getting pushed out. Financial irregularities. Anonymous leaks. Someone's building a case, and I'm the target. His voice cracked slightly, the edge of panic showing through. Isabel sat down across from him. We can fix it. No, he said, shaking his head. You can't fix this. You brought the heat by dragging the kids into this. You poked the bear, Izzy. Don't put this on me, she said. You said you had the resources to protect us. I did, before I became a liability. They sat in silence for a long time. Mason downed the rest of his drink, then stood. I'm pulling back, freezing what I can, selling some of the shell assets. Wait, she said, standing too. You're leaving. I'm protecting myself, he said. You should do the same. He walked out of the room, muttering something she didn't catch. For the first time since she sent that USB drive to Qatar, Isabel felt something she hadn't let herself feel. Regret. Not for leaving Adam. That part still made sense in her mind. But for underestimating him. He wasn't broken. He was building something, and she had no control left. The meeting was scheduled for Saturday afternoon in a neutral room at the school. Just Isabel and the kids. No lawyers. No administrators. Just family. She arrived 10 minutes early, dressed carefully in soft pastels and subtle makeup. Polished, gentle, maternal. She paced the carpeted floor, rehearsing her words. It's not your fault. I did what I thought was best. Your father, no, too accusatory. Try again. The door opened. Cole walked in first, silent, his face unreadable. Lila followed a few steps behind, her eyes red but clear. Neither smiled. Isabel opened her arms. Hi, sweethearts. Cole sat down without a word. Lila gave a brief nod, then sat beside him. Thank you for coming, Isabel said. I know this is complicated, but I wanted to talk. Just us. Cole leaned back in his chair. Talk about what? She took a breath, trying to stay calm. About everything. About why I did what I did. About your dad. About Mason. Lila interrupted, her voice barely above a whisper. We know. Isabel froze. Know what? Cole pulled out the folder Adam had given him. The corner was dog-eared. The cover creased from being opened and closed a dozen times. He slid it across the table. We read it. All of it. Isabel stared at the folder but didn't touch it. Lila's voice trembled. You said Dad didn't want us. That he was gone for good. That he was too busy chasing awards and buildings to care. Isabel folded her hands. I was trying to protect you. From the truth. Cole cut in. From knowing you lied? That you forged his name on our school papers? That Mason was paying our tuition through some fake company? Isabel's eyes welled up. I didn't mean for it to happen like that. I needed to create some distance. To give you a better life. You mean your life? Cole snapped. Your version of better. Lila wiped her cheek. Was any of it real? Isabel reached out, but neither of them moved. Of course it was. I love you both more than anything. I made some hard choices. Cole stood slowly, pulling a folded document from his backpack. Lila stood too. What's that? Isabel asked, suddenly nervous. Legal preference statement, Cole said. The school had the forms. We're signing to live with Dad, Lila added, her voice breaking. Isabel's throat tightened. Wait, please, let's talk. There's nothing left to talk about, Cole said. You manipulated us. You made us hate him. I didn't mean to. But you did, Lila whispered. Cole signed first, slow and deliberate. Lila followed, hand shaking. Isabel reached for them, but they stepped back in unison. Please, she said, voice cracking. I'm still your mother. I know, Cole said quietly. But that doesn't mean you get to decide everything. They walked to the door. Lila turned back one last time. I still love you, but I don't trust you. The door clicked shut behind them. Isabel sat in the empty room, Alone with the truth she couldn't outrun. Her children had made their choice. And it wasn't her. Mason Carson arrived at his downtown office building just before 8 a.m., wearing his usual navy suit, though the tailoring looked looser now. The lobby security guard gave a polite nod, but didn't make eye contact. Mason noticed. Everyone had started doing that. Polite distance, eyes averted, like they were already anticipating his fall. When the elevator reached the executive floor, his keycard didn't work. He swiped again. Red light. Again. Still red. A junior analyst passed by and offered a nervous, "Morning, Mr. Carson," before quickly disappearing around the corner. He stood there for a full minute before pulling out his phone. No missed calls. No messages. Then, as if timed to humiliate, a company-wide email landed in his inbox. Subject: effective immediately, executive suspension notices. He read it twice before the meaning sank in. His name was listed third. No explanation, just vague language about pending internal investigations, fiduciary concerns, and temporary executive reassignment. He stormed back toward the parking garage, calling Isabel. She didn't pick up. He called again. Voicemail. Then a text from his assistant: "Security has been instructed to collect your access badge and company property by noon. HR will contact you." By the time he got home, Isabel was already packing. "Where are you going?" he asked, voice strained. She didn't look up. "Somewhere quiet. Court-mandated counseling starts next week. I need space." He scoffed. "You think this is about therapy? My life's being dismantled, and you're what, taking a retreat?" She paused, then turned to face him. "Mason, I've lost the kids. I've lost any leverage. And now you become a magnet for disaster." He stepped closer. "You don't walk away from me now. Not after everything." "You walked away first," she said. "You started moving money around like no one was watching." "But someone was." Mason's jaw clenched. "He's doing this. Adam's behind everything." "Probably," Isabel admitted. "But you gave him the rope." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. A printed email. A federal notification, flagged confidential. "You want to know how bad it is?" he said, voice trembling. "They've opened a formal investigation. SEC, IRS. Even a harassment claim from 5 years ago just got reopened." Isabel blinked. "From where?" He didn't answer. But they both knew. Anonymous tips. Perfect timing. Federal attention. Adam's fingerprints, invisible but undeniable. Mason's voice dropped to a whisper. "We need to go. Leave the country. South America. I've got contacts. Money stashed. It's the only way out." Isabel looked at him like he was a stranger. "You want me to run?" "I want you to survive." She shook her head. "No. I'm not doing this. Not for you." His face darkened. "You think he'll stop with me?" "I think," she said slowly, "he already did what he set out to do. We burned the bridge. He built the trap." Mason stared at her, chest heaving. "You're leaving me. I left the moment you lied to my children and tried to buy their loyalty with stolen trust money." She picked up her bag and walked past him. He called after her. "You'll regret this." She didn't answer. The front door shut quietly behind her. Alone in the silent apartment, Mason finally understood the weight of it all, not just the lawsuits and leaked files, not the boardroom whispers or the looming indictments. But the worst part, he had underestimated the one man who never raised his voice, never rushed, never broke. Adam hadn't just outplayed him. He had designed every fracture. And Mason was finally standing in the rubble. The road curved through the trees like a ribbon, narrow, slick with early spring rain, the kind of road that never showed up on rental car GPS. Mason drove fast anyway, checking the rearview mirror every few minutes, one hand gripping the wheel, the other flipping through the burner phone he'd activated just 2 days earlier. He thought he was ahead of them. He cleared out the last of his offshore accounts, liquidated a hidden crypto wallet, and booked a charter flight under an alias. The plan: cross into Canada, then vanish. He didn't realize Adam had been building toward this moment from the beginning. The sedan up ahead slowed without warning. Mason braked hard, tires skidding. Then came the unmarked SUVs. 3 of them. Quiet, coordinated. They boxed him in before he could reverse. Doors opened in near silence. He reached for the burner, but the phone lit up with one final message. Game over. The driver's side door opened. A man stepped forward. No badge, no shouting. Just Adam. Mason's mouth fell open. What the hell are you doing here?" Adam didn't flinch. Didn't blink. "Making sure the blueprint is followed." Mason scoffed, trying to keep up the facade. "This is entrapment. Illegal surveillance. You have no jurisdiction." Adam tilted his head. You really think I did this alone? From behind, 2 federal agents appeared, quiet and composed, badges already in hand. One read him his rights. The other pulled Mason from the car. He struggled, of course. Raised his voice, accused everyone. This is a setup. This is a vendetta. Adam didn't move. Just watched. You don't get to do this, Mason spat as they cuffed him. Adam finally stepped closer. You always thought you were the one setting traps. That I was too slow, too detached, too buried in my work to see what you were building. He leaned in, voice calm. But I was drafting this moment from the day I opened Isabel's letter. Mason's eyes narrowed. She'll come after you. Adam shook his head. She's done. And the kids? They made their choice. Mason looked away. The agents led him toward the SUV, boots crunching against the gravel. Let me guess, Mason muttered. You'll send me a postcard when it's over? Adam didn't answer. He just watched the door close behind Mason. Watched the vehicle disappear down the road, taillights vanishing into the mist. And for the first time in years, he exhaled. No anger. No relief. Just the quiet stillness of something complete. This wasn't revenge. It was accountability, measured, deliberate, irreversible. The blueprint had been followed. And the trap had worked. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized in a plain white room with no windows. Adam signed the last document without ceremony. Isabel didn't look at him. She had her attorney, her posture, her silence. Adam had peace. It didn't come all at once. The weeks after Mason's arrest were full of noise, press inquiries, legal correspondence, a slow trickle of texts from people who suddenly remembered Adam existed. He ignored most of it. The only messages he cared about came from 2 numbers saved in his phone, Cole and Lila. They lived with him now in a quiet rental house near the Hudson River. It wasn't flashy, 2 stories, a wraparound porch, modest on the outside. But inside it was warm. Lived in. Real. Lila had joined a local equestrian program. Cole worked part-time at a tech shop in town. Adam made breakfast most mornings and left handwritten notes when he couldn't. He turned down 2 offers from international firms, one in London, one in Tokyo. They offered big projects, bigger money. 10 years ago, he would have flown out the same week. Yeah? He took a consulting role instead, working with small developers in the tri-state area. Local jobs. Manageable hours. Enough to stay sharp, but not enough to pull him away again. He was home every night. One Tuesday after dinner, Cole stood by the sink, drying a dish. You really gave up all that work overseas, he said. Not a question. Adam nodded. It wasn't a loss. Cole looked over. You're not bitter? After everything? Adam took a moment. I'm not bitter. I'm just done designing for people who don't see what matters. Lila walked in from the den, barefoot, holding her sketchbook. You helped me with my science fair project. That mattered. Adam smiled. You made it easy. The design was solid. They laughed quietly. Easy now. Natural. Sometimes the past still tugged at him. The late nights in Qatar, the email from Isabel, the sting of realizing he'd been replaced before he even had a chance to fight. But the weight was different now. Not gone, just balanced. He still kept the old sketch pad on his desk. The one he started the night everything fell apart. It sat open to the last page where he'd drawn a simple rectangle. The outline of a house. Inside it, 3 dots. No names, no flair. Just space for something that could grow. Later that week, the court mailed a packet confirming the parenting plan. Isabel's visitation would be supervised for 6 months, pending review. Counseling was mandatory. Adam didn't celebrate. He just filed the papers away and went outside to watch the kids shoot hoops in the driveway. Cole called him over to join. And Adam did. No titles. No battles. No war rooms. Just a man, a father on solid ground. The architect of his own peace. And this time, he wasn't building to impress anyone. He was building for himself and for them. Support us by liking and subscribing to our channel.